What's up, you guys? It's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday. Anything new?
I just put up the Hellraiser review earlier.
Okay.
So thanks again to Dominic for sending us that. And I'm sorry it took so long for us to get around to it.
We're working on a YouTube thing.
Yeah, we're...
the pay thing for
YouTube?
Yeah.
We're going to do that. So I'm going to do... Because I think you have to do like a specific little video for that, like saying what the membership shit is. So we'll probably do that as well. Let's see. I watched last night. I'm trying to think of the shit that I watched last night. So I finished out the series. Apparently Shudder, I thought they were going to put up like the Cursed Film series. I thought they were doing like one a week like they were doing with Creepshow. But apparently they decided fuck it and they just put the last 3 up there like the last couple days. So apparently all 5 episodes are up there now. I think that's all the episodes that they're doing. I have to say that the last 3 were a big improvement, like, on the first 2, because I feel like the first 2 episodes, which were The Exorcist and The Omen, were good, but I feel like there was only, like, 10 minutes worth of content about the movies, and then the rest of the stuff was just about kind of general shit. You know what I mean? Like, talking about magical thinking and about curses in general and stuff, which is interesting, but I wish that it focused more on the movies. So I'm happy to report that the last 3, which were about Poltergeist, The Crow, and Twilight Zone the movie, which we reviewed not too long ago, actually concentrated almost exclusively on the movies, which was nice to see. So, like, they did go in depth. The Poltergeist one still had some kind of a little bit of general shit in there, but other than that was good. And the Crow one was pretty much all about Brandon Lee and about Bruce Lee and about like the curse around the family, like people saying about that and shit. And they're talking to like people that had worked on the film and, you know, the accident that happened. And there was other accidents on the set that happened too, which I wasn't even aware of.
It's a pretty good series.
It is, yeah, but it definitely got better as it went along.
Yeah,
because the first 2 were a bit weak.
You could tell that I think they're made by different people, and some of them were kind of like throwbacks to the '90s. This one was good though. I like this one. I don't know if you guys remember, we did the review of the movie The Dare, which we liked, and I was talking about this German actor named Robert Mazer.
Yeah, it's not going up till Sunday, but yeah.
It's not going up till Sunday, but I mentioned it on another sidetrack. And he was also played the German pilot that jumped out of the damn Fokker and on fire and shot the dude, if you saw 1917. Anyway, I messaged him and told him, I said that, man, I thought he'd make a great Flash Gordon. And he got back to me. There it is right there.
Tom is so excited about this.
Yeah, he got back. He got back. You know,
look,
dude. Yeah, he said, "Thank you for reaching out. I appreciate your words. I love the idea of Flash Gordon." And then he's got like a smiley face and a thumbs up. He goes, "All the best to you, Rob." So, and I told him I'd send him the review when it's ready. But yeah, that's good. That's cool that he reached out to somebody who, you know, said, man, you'd make a fucking great Flash Gordon.
Yeah. Well, but, that was the first thing I thought of, like, when I saw his face. Like, he just reminded me of... Maybe he reminded me of the actor that played him in the serial, or from the comic. Yeah. Because he doesn't look like the guy that played him in, you know, the movie from
he looks
the 70s.
Like the old school Flash
Yeah,
from, like,
that's
the 30s.
what I was thinking. Like, he looked very much like a throwback type of...
And he's one of the few guys they got right now that, to me, the physicality tells me man of action.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, he looks like a good action star. You're right, yeah. An action star, alpha male hero type. Or like he played a good villain, too, in The Dare.
Yeah.
Yeah, either way. But the guy looks just like a big fucking, kind of like male model is what he looks like. But he's a stunt man, you know what I mean? He's backing it up. It's not
gymnast.
And a gymnast. It's not just looks, you know? He's just a fucking ubermensch.
Yeah, because like I said, I was surprised when I looked him up. Like, I wasn't surprised that he was a stuntman because he's big and buff and everything, but he got his start, like, as a gymnast and has actually won, like, a bunch of titles.
Yeah, he's got a lot of conditioning. You can see it, you know. Just shit fit. Just fucking Google him. I mean, dude looks like just a fucking prime physical specimen, you know? and that's the way Flash was drawn.
That's what, I think that's what reminded me of it, because I've seen like the serials and all the kind of the original comics and all that other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But so Cursed Films, good. I watched a couple, like last night I was kind of like, didn't really know what I was in the mood to watch, so I rewatched Starry Eyes, which I have recommended many times on this show probably. It's from 2014, and it's on Shudder. It might also be on Netflix and Tubi. It's on like a whole bunch of different streaming services, so if you haven't seen it, you might want to check it out. I also got into watching, and I should have watched this probably before we did the show on Lizzie Borden that we did a few months ago. I watched the movie Lizzie. I can't remember what year it was from. It can't be that old, because Kristen Stewart was in it and Chloe Sevigny was in it. And they went the route of the two of them, that Bridget and Lizzie Borden were kind of like in love with each other, or having a sexual relationship, and kind of like wanted to kill the parents because Andrew Borden was molesting or raping the maid, and also was just a dickhead in general. So, I mean, and they also went with the whole, like, Lizzie was naked when she killed them, and that's why there was, like, no blood on the clothes and stuff. Now, originally, what they did in this movie was that Bridget was supposed to kill Andrew, but she chickened out, so Lizzie ended up killing both of them anyway. But then, Bridget went on the stand and, like, covered for her ass and stuff like that. So this movie was saying that they both were like conspiring and they both knew what happened. However, they also painted the Bordens as like so horrible that I was just kind of like, yeah, kill them. Because I was like, the shit that the dad did in this, I'm like, yeah, if my dad did that, I'd probably kill him too.
It looked like a very kind of standard movie of its type. I mean, you know what I mean? It didn't really pull me in, but it didn't look bad. It looked good.
It wasn't a horror movie. It is on Shudder, but they have like other shit on there too. It's more like a psychological horror, more like a drama.
Like. Yeah.
It did have some real gory, like, because they showed like when she fucking axed Andrew in the face, and then like they showed a nice big close-up of his fucking cleaved face, and it was like really good effects and stuff. But other than like a few moments in it, it's pretty much just a straight drama.
For me, I was never really interested in that case. I think that's what it is. A lot of people are like, wow, what happened? I don't really care. The case was actually pretty typical. There were a lot of murders like that over the years that went unsolved, where there were suspects. But you know what I mean? I don't know why. I don't know why this one stands out so much in people's minds and in culture. There's a lot of these.
I've always kind of wondered that about a lot of crimes, why some crimes, get a lot of like attention, and another crime that's almost exactly like
it's forgotten.
Like you don't hear anything about it. I don't know if it's just because
I think it was because the suspect was a woman and they were middle class and it was Boston area.
Yeah, they were even like they were kind of upper class actually. They were kind of like upper society type of people, and
I think that's the only reason why.
It might have been, and also because there was so much evidence to suggest that Lizzie had probably done it, but then she got off with it, and she was kind of a weird character anyway, so maybe that kind of like fueled the whole thing. I've always wondered that too, about like why somebody like like Jack the Ripper, and I might have mentioned this on one of our other shows, like somebody like Jack the Ripper is still remembered like more than 100 years after the crimes took place, even though there have been other unsolved crimes that are kind of like that, or just as brutal, or they killed more people or something like that.
That's even worse.
Yeah, and they kind of get forgotten about. Yeah. So it's just really interesting to me. And I can't really put my finger on what it is, maybe, that, like, there has to be some little detail that people latch onto.
Place and time.
Yeah.
That's what it is, the timing and the location. It was, and I think the Lizzie Borden case was built back then, in those days, and it was just a media circus, and it stuck. Like the Lindbergh case.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you'd probably pretty much forget about that case pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, well, you have to think...
And they're media-driven. That's the thing. It's what the media thinks will sell a good story, and that case will be remembered. If the media doesn't think they can sell a bunch of papers and can't make up a good story, then the case will be forgotten.
Yeah, if it doesn't have, like, some salacious details or theories or something behind it that people can latch onto.
Like that damn Italian case where the guys writing the damn fake news are like, let's make it seem like the mother did it.
Yeah.
Remember that with the little kid that disappeared?
That was I think the Gregory Villemin case.
Right.
Was it? The little Gregory?
Yeah, don't believe anything you hear in the news. Those fuckers lie, man.
Well, I'm going to say don't believe anything ever.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you have to believe some things, obviously,
Just
but it's like...
do your own research, make your own damn opinion. Form your own damn opinion on the shit. A lot of that stuff that you in the newspapers is all just about selling the next newspaper. Well, and that's not new. It's been going on since the 1700s.
Forever. It's been going on since forever.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's like you can't just automatically disbelieve everything because there are some kernels of truth in there, but you just have to take everything with a grain of salt and be like, okay, well, this particular detail, is there any reason that they would have put this in here and maybe it's not true or maybe, you know what I mean?
I just always look for contradictions in the narrative. They're spinning a fucking yarn when the story shoots down its own story. When there's contradictions going on, you know what I mean? Or when there's contradictions in the narrative, that's when I know they're just fucking bullshitting.
Well, it's something that I've been like thinking about last couple of days because I've been researching. I went back and was like revisiting some of the. Remember we did the show a long time ago about the smiley face murders and stuff. Yeah. Well, I've been researching. I'm not gonna spoil it, although maybe if you know anything about anything, then you'll probably figure out what I'm doing. Because the next podcast episode that we're doing, I'm going to cover one case that's similar to that.
Yeah.
And so I've been kind of looking into how these things occur, like how these urban legends kind of, rise up around these types of things. And it's just really, really interesting to me that you would think that now that we have so much information right at our fingertips that would largely go away, but it seems like I don't know if I'd say it was worse, but it's much easier for information, true or false, to be generated, and it's much easier to like be disseminated like out to the public. So it does seem like a lot of shit about conspiracy theories and maybe links between things that aren't there. I think that can spread a lot quicker than it used to back in the old days. Even though, and too, there's like the thing where there's kind of, where you're steered like in one direction, like just information that agrees with what you already agree with, and you tend to like get news sources that pop up in your feed and shit like that are only kind of tailored to your viewpoint already.
And you start making your own narrative as you go.
And then you start going down this way, but you're losing like the larger perspective. So there is that problem too. But like I said, I don't know if there's any way to combat that really, just because that's the way human brains work. There's confirmation bias. There's, you tend to like remember things that agree with what you already think and forget things that don't.
Yeah.
And there's all these kind of like things in that. So one case that I've been, kind of researching for the show brought a little bit of that out. So I'll probably talk a little bit more about that on the
but what you're talking about, a lot of conspiracy theories are like that. And, like, there are some conspiracy theories going around that I just can't buy. You know what I mean? About, child sacrifice and people taking the damn stuff that comes out of the damn pituitary gland and making drugs out of it.
I got that out of a movie.
Yeah, I'm just not going to buy that. Adrenochrome, I think is what it's called, right? And that, you know what I mean, high-ranking DNC officials are involved in that. I just don't buy it. I don't think they could hide it, all right? But then there's other stuff that I think that, there's something to it. Like I told you that this virus came from something that they were working on. People go, oh no, it's natural. It's starting to come out now. No, it's linked to that damn lab in Wuhan. And there's Americans that are linked to that lab too. They were working on something. I don't know if it was a bioweapon. Remember the day of the outbreak. This is back when it was still in Wuhan. I could just see the way the Chinese government reacted. I said, they know what that is. That they went right onto a MOP level, which is mission-oriented protective posture. They're trying. I said that must be dangerous. They know exactly what it is. It's some kind of a bioweapon or something that can affect a situation in the same way a bioweapon you can. We did a show on a long time ago about the deniability of them and the fact that you can attack somebody and say, I didn't do it, it was a natural cause. They went through that whole thing. Now it's starting to come out past 2 days. Yeah, it did come from there. You know what I mean? It's the Chinese are starting to kind of like almost admit it. But, we'll see. And it didn't have to be on purpose. Was it on purpose? I don't know. The timing was awful suspicious. The timing was awful suspicious. I think we might find out more. And, you know, you could say, well, that's a conspiracy theory. A lot of shit that really happens, you could say, is a conspiracy theory. You know what I mean? Conspiracy theory is a term made up by intelligence organizations to hide the shit that they did, to explain it away. So, I don't know, it's just the word. We're going to see. We're going to see. What do you think, Jenny?
I don't think that.
You don't think what?
I don't believe that theory that it was man-made or that it came out of a lab or on purpose or anything like that.
There are some Indian universities.
I mean, the reason that they had like a quick response to it is because they've had almost exactly those types of flu outbreaks before, and so probably knew how to deal with it. They're like, oh shit, this is another one just like that.
There was evidently some Indian laboratories that got a sample of it, and to them they said they believed it to be engineered, that it was a chimera. It was made up of a couple different things. And that evidently the Indian government believes that it may have been done on purpose.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying I don't believe that.
Well, you know, there was a trade war going on with China. There was a rebellion going on in Hong Kong. Then they were having a lot of problems with Taiwan. Evidently, it looks like they're poised to do a military invasion of Taiwan right now. This would be a perfect smokescreen for all that. The timing is just fucking suspicious. And I don't believe in suspicious timing. I was involved in military operations. Military operations always have suspicious timing. It's just, I'm not a trusting person, you know. I'm
not either, but I'm a very logical person, and I usually go with like the most likely scenario.
Well, war is not logical from your point of view. It's logical from the point of view of the people that launch it. And if you think you're going to lose your regime and end up dangling at the end of a rope, you will do some shit like that for your own survival. It may not look logical to you, but you have to put yourself in the opponent's shoes.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not really what I was getting at.
Okay.
I was saying that I'm not saying that it's not logical from my point of view, but I'm just like saying that from the point of view of just looking at outcomes in the most logical way, in the way that what is the most likely outcome, how likely has this happened before, like accidentally, all of this other kind of stuff. Just to me, it doesn't look like it was deliberate. That's all I'm saying. And you know, like I said, I'm
suspicious. I'm very suspicious.
And like I said, I might have gone into this, and I think probably the second, because I was talking about the smiley face murders, but I think the smiley face murders video that we did was the one that gets the second biggest, largest amount of, you know, people arguing, that I usually just take off because I'm like, whatever, retard, because it's usually like really badly spelled and stuff. But I feel like the thing that happens, and I'm not saying that, you know, some of the smiley face murders, like these people are dead, okay? They are dead. But do I think that there is an organized gang of serial killers running around various U.S. states, as well as many other countries, drowning college-age young men, you know what I mean? Just because that's the method of killing people. It's just,
there's no motive there. I can agree with you.
It's just like, it's a dumb idea. It's right. Like, you know, I'm not saying that all of them are accidents. Maybe some of them were, you know, other things. Maybe some of them were murders. I'm just saying that all of them weren't. And I do feel like it's a thing where people who don't know statistics, like how many times has this happened around this particular area, like all that kind of stuff, it can look like there's a pattern there when there's not really a pattern there. So that's all I'm saying.
Right.
And I'm not saying that it won't come out later that, yeah, maybe that's what it was, because that does happen sometimes.
Yeah, that's what was.
What?
What was you referring to? Just anything that was just...
Yeah, just anything.
Okay.
I'm not saying that later on we might not find out that it was like some conspiracy or something like that, because some things are. I just feel like most of the time it's not, or it's not as big a conspiracy as it seems like from the surface or something like that. Because like I said, you know, humans are really good at like picking patterns out, right, especially if you're looking for one.
Yeah. The reason why I'm doing it is because I was trained in a form of warfare that is obsolete. You know what I mean? Nuclear fucking apocalypse between the Soviet Union. That's not going to happen anymore.
Well, we hope not.
It's not going to happen. Well, World War II, the World War II style fighting is obsolete. Amphibious landings and tanks and shit like that. That era is gone because nuclear weaponry kind of made that obsolete. Then it became proxy wars for a long time. that kind of became obsolete. And it looks like warfare in general is now obsolete because it involves uniformed militaries and governments have to be accountable to them. It looks like it's been replaced by a new form of warfare that involves NGOs, lawyers, propaganda, corporations, and maybe bioweapons and a bunch of deception. That's a war that you could actually wage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Weird things like, the NGOs are doing like things like weaponized mass immigration. You use that instead of armies. You use that instead of bombs. Use, it's like something out of James Bond, Spectre. You start bribing politicians. You get politicians to invest in your country. Like our politicians, a lot of them are invested in China, And a lot of the corporations are invested in China. So they have a vested interest in China succeeding, at the expense of the United States. Because they're the rich people. They could always just fly away to their private islands over on another other side of the earth. They're not really connected to the United States. They don't care if it succeeds or fails. And then you twist that into something global domination, where your octopus of corruption just takes over the entire world. And you rename that as something friendly like globalism or, like open societies, that type of shit. That's just a friendly way of, saying global domination of corporations and rich families, Because, if you get rid of the nation states, you get rid of a citizen's ability to protect themselves in courts of law against these corporations that these rich people own. That's what I'm seeing. That's the form of warfare I'm seeing. Used to be rich people just controlled the armies of a government, Well, that's not really doable anymore. So they do it this way.
Yeah, I'm not saying shit like that doesn't... Yeah, I'm not saying shit like that doesn't happen. I'm just saying that just from a general standpoint, a lot of conspiracy theories, I just don't buy them.
Okay. I'm so scared. We'll leave it on the audience. You guys can comment on in the comment section. I'm just skeptical. I'm suspicious of the timing of everything. It's just everything's accelerated and all happening at once. And it's a weird shit is happening. It looks like an attack, but maybe the attack being launched from a new generation of warfare that we've never seen before. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, and like I'm not saying that's not possible.
A cloaked clandestine warfare straight out of Spectre, out of fucking out of 007. It's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's not possible. I'm just saying, I'm just reserving judgment.
I think China's behind it. China and rich people that have invested in China. That's what I think it is. That's the most likely suspects. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So, so what else? Anything else we have to cover?
No, that's it. I got them damn meatballs in the oven.
Yeah,
I got to get them out and make spaghetti meatballs. Yeah, I pre-cook them a little bit before I put them in with sauce. So
that sounds good. I haven't eaten since yesterday.
Yeah. No, you ate. Oh, you didn't eat this morning, did you? Did you have breakfast? Okay.
No, I did not. Right. So I haven't eaten since yesterday at like 6 or 7 p.m.
All right. Well, let me get to it.
All right. So we will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Stay safe out there.